me ask you this. Did Reverend James Cleveland really die from AIDS?
Whoa. And I want to say that about James Cleveland. The rumors that he has a daughter.
Many people know James Cleveland as the legendary gospel singer whose music inspired millions around the world. But behind the powerful songs and public praise, his son has shared shocking claims that paint a very different picture of the man many admired. So, what exactly did James Cleveland's son reveal? Why are these disturbing stories about his father's life and legacy causing so much attention years after his death? And could these surprising claims change the way people remember one of gospel music's biggest and most respected voices? James Cleveland's son's shocking revelation. Christopher Harris, who was once known as Christopher Cleveland, sang in Cleveland's church choir in Los Angeles. He joined the choir as a young teenager. At 13, he was the only boy singing alto. He stood about 6 feet tall, making him look much older than his real age. James Cleveland began paying special attention to him, but Harris later said that this relationship became abusive. Harris claimed that Cleveland abused him for 5 years, starting when he was only 13 years old. He said the abuse continued until he became infected with HIV. After Cleveland's death, Harris filed a lawsuit against his estate, asking for justice for what he said he had suffered. The case was settled outside of court. Because of the settlement, Harris cannot talk about the details, but he has shared parts of his experience. Harris said he admired Cleveland and dreamed of becoming a gospel singer. Cleveland promised to help him succeed, but Harris claimed those promises were used to gain his trust and control him instead. The accusations shocked many people, but they also raised questions about the church and the gospel music community. According to Harris, many people close to Cleveland knew about his relationships with young men. Members of his inner circle in church allegedly chose to stay silent instead of speaking out. Harris believed this silence allowed the behavior to continue for years without anyone stopping it. James Cleveland's official cause of death was listed as heart failure. However, Harris suggested that this was not the full story. He hinted that the heart failure diagnosis may have been used to hide the real cause of Cleveland's death, although no official evidence has confirmed that claim. James Cleveland's life remains complicated. He was one of the most important gospel musicians of his time and changed gospel music forever. At the same time, the serious allegations that came out after his death have become an important part of how many people remember his legacy. So, how was James Cleveland's humble beginning? Did he have a good experience during his childhood? Let's find out. James Cleveland's early life. James Cleveland was born on December 5, 1931, in Chicago, a city filled with gospel music. His parents were hard-working and deeply faithful, raising him in a home where faith and music went hand in hand. His grandmother played a major role in his childhood. She took young James to Pilgrim Baptist Church, a place that would shape both his life and future career. From an early age, James showed a special gift for music. At just 8 years old, he sang his first solo with the church choir and impressed everyone who heard him. The choir director, Thomas A. Dorsey, widely known as the father of gospel music, became his mentor and helped guide his musical journey. James grew up surrounded by music and inspiration. He greatly admired gospel singer and pianist Roberta Martin, who also performed at Pilgrim Baptist Church. Her influence was powerful, and her group, the Roberta Martin Singers, helped shape his unique musical style. Inspired by Martin, James began writing his own songs while still a child, a talent that would later make him one of gospel music's greatest composers. Life was not easy for James. He grew up during the Great Depression, when his family had very little money. They could not afford a piano, so he practiced on a windowsill, pretending the cracks and edges were piano keys. He often talked about how he imagined himself playing a real piano one day while practicing on those make-believe keys. Even with these challenges, he never gave up on his dream. By the time James reached high school, his parents had saved enough money to buy him an upright piano. It became a life-changing moment. He spent countless hours practicing, improving his skills, and creating a style that mixed traditional gospel with jazz. His talent quickly became impossible to ignore, and more people began noticing his ability. As a teenager, James joined a local gospel group called the Thorn Gospel Crusaders. It was there that his songwriting talent truly began to stand out. The group started performing his songs, and his music soon caught the attention of respected leaders in the gospel community. One of his early songs, "Grace is Sufficient," was performed at a Baptist convention in 1948, becoming an important step in his career. After hearing the song, Roberta Martin began publishing his music, opening the door to his professional career. Around the same time, James joined the Soul Winners for Christ, a missionary group started by his teenage friend Jesse Jimerson Phillips. Based at Chicago's Greater Harvest Baptist Church, the group included well-known members such as Richard D. Hennen. This experience strengthened both his faith and his love for gospel music. However, his journey was not without setbacks. While singing with a local group, James seriously strained his vocal cords. The injury left him with the rough, gravelly voice that later became his trademark. Instead of letting the setback stop him, he accepted his new voice and used it to bring even more feeling, power, and emotion to every performance. How did he rise to fame? Did he face any challenges? Let's take a closer look. James Cleveland's gospel journey. By 1950, James Cleveland was ready to make a big name for himself in gospel music. He joined the Gospelaires, a talented group led by Narvellis McKissick and Bessie Folk. The group wanted to give traditional gospel songs a fresh, modern sound. James created new arrangements for classics like "Give Me That Old-Time Religion" and "It's Me, O Lord," making them feel exciting again. The Gospelaires did not stay together for long. After the group broke up, James began working with Roberta Martin, one of the people he had admired since he was young. She hired him as a songwriter and music arranger. His career reached a new level when he recorded his powerful version of "Peace Be Still," a song that brought him widespread attention and helped make him famous. James later teamed up with his childhood friend Albertina Walker. She had started the Caravans, a gospel group that would help launch the careers of many future stars. James worked with the group as a songwriter, arranger, pianist, occasional singer, and even a narrator. The Caravans featured talented singers such as Shirley Caesar, later known as the First Lady of Gospel, and George Satterfield, who helped write some of the group's biggest songs. Other members included Dolores Washington, Josephine Howard, Etta Jones, Andrews, Dorothy Norwood, James Herndon, and Loletta Holloway. The group became one of the most important training grounds for rising gospel artists. In November 1954, Albertina Walker gave James a major opportunity. She persuaded States Records to let him record with the Caravans, giving him his first experience in a recording studio. He continued recording with the group until States Records closed in 1957. Those years played a huge role in building his reputation in gospel music. James and Albertina kept working together into the late 1970s. They released albums such as Reunion in 1977 and the well-known Please Be Patient With Me in 1979. The second album earned Albertina Walker her first gold record. James continued moving forward with his career. In 1959, he recorded his own version of Ray Charles's hit, "Hallelujah, I Love Her So." By 1960, he had started adding blues-style sounds to his gospel music. However, his recording of the Soul Stirrers song "The Love of God," backed by the Voices of Tabernacle from Detroit, became a success and helped him secure a recording contract that changed the course of his life forever. When was his turning point? Did he do it alone? Let's find out. James Cleveland breakthrough. In 1962, James Cleveland signed with Savoy Records, a famous jazz record label. This partnership led to many soul gospel recordings, with many of them recorded live during church services and concerts. Reverend Lawrence Roberts, pastor of First Baptist Church in Nutley, New Jersey, believed that recording live worship would capture the true feeling of church. Cleveland and the Angelic Choir of Nutley released several albums together, including the well-known Peace Be Still in September 1963. The album sold thousands of copies, earned Cleveland his first gold album, and stayed on the Billboard charts for more than 15 years. Later, Cleveland moved to Los Angeles to serve as minister of music at Grace Memorial Church of God in Christ. There, he worked with keyboard player Billy Preston and continued performing with the Angelic Choir of Nutley, helping him become even more popular. He also formed the James Cleveland Singers, which included Odessa McCassell, Georgia White, Eugene Bryant, and Billy Preston. By 1965, Clyde Brown and Charles Barnett had joined the group. They toured across the United States and other countries, drawing large crowds wherever they performed. Together, they recorded songs such as Heaven That Will Be Good Enough for Me, Two Wings, and The Lord Is Blessing Me Right Now. Over the years, more talented singers joined the group, including Marva Hines and famous soprano Cleo Kennedy, who remained with Cleveland until his death. As his fame continued to grow, Cleveland started the Southern California Community Choir, SCCC, a move that became one of the greatest achievements of his career. The choir quickly became one of the leading gospel choirs in America. In 1975, Cleveland won his first Grammy Award for the choir's 1974 album, In the Ghetto. This award marked the beginning of many successful years with SCCC. Between 1970 and 1990, Cleveland and the choir released many popular albums. One of their biggest successes was the 1979 album It's a New Day, which featured the hit song God Is. Another major release was Where Is Your Faith in 1981, which further strengthened the choir's reputation in gospel music. Cleveland received his final Grammy Award after his death in 1991 for the album Having Church, which included his memorable version of Tremaine Hawkins' What Shall I Do? In November 1970, Cleveland founded Cornerstone Institutional Baptist Church in Los Angeles. The church began with only a small group of members, but it grew into a large congregation under his leadership. In 1980, he released his first album with the church choir, The Voices of Cornerstone. The album featured songs such as Jesus, Lover of My Soul, and A Praying Spirit, written by Elbernita Twinkie Clark, and later made famous by the Clark sisters. The church released another album, My Expectations, in 1981, which also received praise and featured many gifted singers. Cleveland was also known for helping other gospel artists succeed. He supported and recorded with groups such as the Donald Vales Choraleers, the Harold Smith Majestics, the Los Angeles Gospel Messengers, and the New Jerusalem Baptist Church Choir. These partnerships produced beloved songs like Lord Help Me to Hold Out and I Don't Feel No Ways Tired. The James Cleveland Singers continued to grow over the years. Beginning in 1964, members included Odessa Maston and Roger Roberts. By 1965, Clyde Brown and Charles Barnett had joined, and the group's nationwide and international tours introduced their music to even larger audiences. Cleveland's influence extended beyond gospel music through collaborations with artists like Aretha Franklin, Ray Charles, and Elton John. His work on Aretha Franklin's 1972 live album, Amazing Grace, became a landmark achievement, winning a Grammy Award, selling millions of copies, and earning recognition as one of the greatest gospel albums ever recorded. The recording sessions for Amazing Grace were also filmed by the director. However, technical problems caused the sound and video to fall out of sync, so the film was not released for 47 years. The producer later used modern technology to fix the problem, allowing the documentary to be completed. It finally premiered in April 2019, introducing this unforgettable performance to a new generation of fans. Cleveland also made an impact in film. The soundtrack, released by Savoy Records, became a best-selling gospel album and further proved Cleveland's lasting influence on gospel music. What other aspect of life did he venture into? Or was it still within the gospel circle? Let's find out. James Cleveland Gospel Empire. By 1968, James Cleveland had become one of the biggest names in gospel music, but he wanted to do more than build his own career. He wanted to help others grow and keep gospel music strong. So he teamed up with Albertina Walker to start the Gospel Music Workshop of America, GMWA. The yearly event quickly became a special place for young and experienced gospel singers to learn, perform, and connect. Its goal was simple: bring gospel musicians from across the country together to celebrate and keep gospel music alive. The idea was a huge success. The GMWA grew to more than 150 chapters with over 30,000 members. The organization helped launch and support many well-known gospel artists, including Donald Vails, Isaac Douglas, Myrna Summers, Sarah Jordan Powell, Darrell Coley, John P. Key, Kirk Franklin, Kurt Carr, Donald Lawrence, and Yolanda Adams. Every year, thousands of people attended the workshops, helping gospel music reach even more listeners. The last album James Cleveland recorded with the GMWA was released in 1990. It featured music from the group's 1989 annual convention in New Orleans. Cleveland was also known for taking popular pop, R&B, and soul songs and turning them into powerful gospel songs. One of his best-known examples was Gladys Knight and the Pips' "You're the Best Thing That Ever Happened to Me." He changed it into "Jesus is the Best Thing That Ever Happened to Me." The song, recorded with the Charles Fold of Cincinnati, Ohio, was released in 1975 and earned him a Grammy nomination. Another popular remake was his gospel version of Barry Manilow's "I Write the Songs," which appeared on his 1977 Grammy-winning album Live at Carnegie Hall. His final well-known gospel remake came in 1989, when he turned Whitney Houston's "Didn't We Almost Have It All" into "Aren't You Glad You Know the Lord?" He recorded it with the Northern and Southern California choirs of the GMWA for the album Breathe on Me, which also featured Darrell Coley and Milton Bigham. What legacy did he leave behind, and how was his final days? Let's find out. James Cleveland's final days. From 1985 to 1988, James Cleveland stepped into the music business by starting his own record label, King James Records. The label worked with Detroit's Sound of Gospel Records Incorporated, which handled the manufacturing and distribution of its music. During that time, King James Records released 3 albums with the Gospel Music Workshop of America, GMWA, 1 solo album by Cleveland, Billy Preston's first gospel album, and 2 albums by the Los Angeles Gospel Messengers. One of its first releases, Praise 88, became a favorite among gospel fans. Cleveland also brought back his James Cleveland Presents series. Through it, he gave new attention to groups like the Craig Brothers and the 4th of May, while also introducing the Harmonizing Four to a wider audience. Sadly, the label closed after its distributor went out of business. Although the label was short-lived, Cleveland's impact on gospel music was lasting. Through the GMWA, his recordings, and his work mentoring artists, he helped shape the genre. He became known for transforming popular songs into gospel versions, blending musical styles in creative ways. Even today, many parts of his life and career remain largely unknown. James Cleveland's long career brought him many honors, especially Grammy Awards, which recognized his amazing contribution to gospel music. In 1974, he won his first Grammy with the Southern California Community Choir for Best Soul Gospel Performance with the album In the Ghetto. The award confirmed that he had become one of gospel music's biggest stars. In 1977, he earned another Grammy for Best Soul Gospel Performance, Traditional, with his live album James Cleveland Live at Carnegie Hall. The recording captured the excitement, passion, and powerful worship that made his live performances unforgettable. His success continued in 1980 when he won another Grammy for Best Soul Gospel Performance, Traditional for Lord, Let Me Be an Instrument, recorded with the Charles Fold Singers. The award showed his special gift for bringing talented people together to create inspiring gospel music. His final Grammy came after his death in 1990 for Best Gospel Album by a Choir or Chorus. The Southern California Community Choir's album, Having Church, included Cleveland's memorable version of Tremaine Hawkins' song, What Shall I Do?, proving that his music continued to touch lives even after he was gone. As his health became worse, James Cleveland never lost his faith or his love for gospel music. During the last year of his life, serious breathing problems made it impossible for him to sing. Still, on the final Sunday before he passed away, he spoke to his church family at Cornerstone Institutional Baptist Church. He said, "If I don't see you again, and if I don't sing again, I'm a witness that the Lord answers prayer. He gave me my voice back this morning." Those heartfelt words stayed with everyone who heard them. James Cleveland died on February 9, 1991, in Culver City, California, at the age of 59. He died from congestive heart failure after falling into a coma. His death was a heartbreaking loss for the gospel world. So, what do you think about James Cleveland's son's shocking revelation? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section. Don't forget to like and subscribe.